So that's my general view on rates. I'm struggling to bother to trade any other macro stuff because the dominance of the crypto trade and the technology trade is so big that if you have a view on lower rates, you might as well buy the fuck out of technology. And if you've got some real balls, you just buy crypto instead. And that's where you make all the money. Why would you be? It's the best performing asset in all recorded history. Every 3 years, so in this 4-year cycle, 3 years out of the 4 years, crypto is the best performing asset class on earth. The 4th year, it's the worst. 3 years, best performing asset class, 4 years, the worst. 3 years, the best performing asset class, 4 years, the worst. This year, this is the year 1 of the 3, best performing asset class on earth. And each time you had that down year, you're going higher and higher and higher. The performance says everything. Are you choosing to be poor? Because that's what you do when you say you don't want crypto. In April 2020, I've not sold a single thing. Yes, I've switched around from one thing to another, not including stable coins. I own none of those. I have full crypto exposure, and all I have done is add. I added like as much as I possibly could last year with any free cash flow I had.
The economic landscape appears uncertain, with indicators pointing towards challenging times ahead. Amidst these uncertainties, a beacon of opportunity shines through the dominance of the crypto and technology trades. Raoul Pal emphasizes the immense potential he sees in both cryptocurrency and technology stocks. He advocates for investors to take advantage of the burgeoning opportunities presented by these sectors. Pal's belief in the future dominance of cryptocurrencies is exemplified by his unwavering confidence in Bitcoin. He sees Bitcoin not only as a digital asset, but as a transformative force in the financial landscape. Pal's advice to investors is clear: seize the opportunity in these sectors. He encourages them to consider allocating their portfolios strategically, leveraging the potential gains offered by both crypto and tech stocks. The biggest opportunities in history are unfolding before us in crypto and technology. Do not miss out on this significant macro trade. Are we in fiscal dominance?
I think rates will go low. Will they get back to zero? Don't really know. But it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. They'll be lower. You know, will they be 2%, 1.5%, 1%? Who knows? But that's fine. I think rates come significantly lower. So that's my general view on rates. I'm struggling to bother to trade any other macro stuff because the dominance of the crypto trade and the technology trade is so big that if you have a view on lower rates, you might as well buy the fuck out of technology. And if you've got some real balls, you just buy crypto instead. And that's where you make all the money. If you remember, NASDAQ up 45%, Solana up 500%, or Bitcoin up 120%. That's the magnitude of difference. And it only compounds over a bull market as you get into macro crypto summer. This is where the real gains are made. So I'm very comfortable with this long duration risk bets where I'm not worried about the small ups and downs. I just kind of close my eyes and hold it.
What if Bitcoin ETF is approved?
MicroStrategy is going to trade at a discount to its Bitcoin holdings, because when you have a pure play, because don't forget, MicroStrategy doesn't make a lot of money as a software company. It's all the Bitcoin it owns. So it probably trades as a discount like the GBTC did in the end, as people flock to the better vehicle of the Bitcoin ETF, which will track Bitcoin pretty much one for one. So I think I would steer clear of it because I think it'll underperform. We will have a secondary scare, but not a big one. You know, when we look back at these kind of election years, you might get a 10% sell-off, maybe 2 of them over the year, but that's about it. You know, max 15% in the general context of what should be a very strong year. They are your friend. You should say thank you when there's corrections of that sort, if you've got cash to buy more. David Black, Freixenet, the black bottle, just slides down the gullet as well. Why would you be? It's the best performing asset in all recorded history. Every 3 years, so in this 4-year cycle, 3 years out of the 4 years, crypto is the best performing asset class on earth. The 4th year, it's the worst. 3 years, best performing asset class, 4 years, the worst. 3 years, the best performing asset class, 4 years, the worst. This year, this is the year 1 of the 3, best performing asset class on earth. And each time you had that down year, you're going higher and higher and higher. The performance says everything. Are you choosing to be poor? Because that's what you do when you say you don't want crypto.
Best way to invest in Bitcoin?
information. It will lose you money. You invest 6, 12, 18 months ahead. Where is it going to be in 6, 12, or 18 months? 6, 12, or 18 months, are people going to buy more cars or less cars? Use more technology or less technology? Buy more oil or less oil? Well, the answer is bloody clear. So that's what economic growth does. So please don't invest in today. It's the biggest mistake everybody makes in markets. In April 2020, I've not sold a single thing. Yes, I've switched around from one thing to another, not including stable coins. I own none of those. I have full crypto exposure, and all I have done is add. I added like as much as I possibly could last year with any free cash flow I had. I first bought Bitcoin in 2013 at $200. My thesis was this is a 10-year bet, and I think it's worth $1 million, but I'm going to discount myself by 90% for the moron factor. So therefore it's worth $100,000, and it's at $200. And I said, this is the best macro bet we will ever be given, and the best macro bet we have ever been given. That was 2013. I was pretty impressed if I look back, because it was exactly the case. So I rode it up, and it went up to 5x from where I bought it. Then it collapsed 85%. I'm like, fine, it's an option for me. It's a 10-year bet. It then ran up 10x into 2017. 4 years later, I'm up 10x. And I got a bit nervous in the space because of forking wars and other stuff. And I stupidly forgot the initial premise of the trade, which was this 10-year bet, you just run it. Because when the P&L stacks up, you start thinking, well, really, do I want to give this back? But you've got to learn how to do that if you're running long duration time horizons. So I sold out at 2,000, 2,500, and it went up to 20,000 in that run. And people were laughing at me, and I was like, look, I've made 10x. Thank you very much. I've done this really, really well. And then I watched it, and then eventually got the entry point to get back in again, which was April 2020, and it fell back down. I think I got in 6,500 and bought it, from 6,500 to about 12,000. I kept buying it, and it rocketed higher, and much bigger position than when I first started. Okay, great. And I still own it today. It's pulled back up again. Okay. So I went back and looked, if I just kept my original investment and not touched it, even with the market down from its high 50%, I'd have made 5 times as much money. And my bet in 2020 was a lot bigger than it was back in 2013. And then here's the real crux, and the big cyclical up and downs, which is the economic cyclicality. If you just buy within 30% of the low, which is not that difficult, 30%, don't even have to be bottom ticking it. I just calculated I got 30% near the low. If you'd have just added my original bet, which wasn't that big, it would have been 25 times as much performance. And that was the lesson learned. That's why I didn't sell a single thing, and I kept buying. My duration really for this is, I will probably take some off the table in this trade, but my duration, my real bet is to run most of it until 2030. That's always been the game, and it remains the game for me. You do you, I do me. I have a stomach for risk. I've been doing this for a long time. I actually enjoy the risk of crypto. I enjoy the shit throwing when it goes down 70%. I'm buying like crazy, and everybody else is like, you bastard, it's terrible, it's the worst investment ever. And then you go back 3 years later and it's like 10x where they were all selling it. It's just it's a ridiculous business, but it's a lot of fun as long as you understand the game that you're in. If your game is you need those profits, for goodness sake, take the bloody profits. Okay, more questions. How are we doing on time? 12 minutes left.
As we go through the complex economic landscape and explore the vast potential of crypto and technology trades, it is evident that the upcoming years offer both challenges and unprecedented opportunities. Remember, 2024 and 2025 could be transformative for investors. Educate yourself and be prepared to capitalize on these monumental trades. The gains witnessed in assets like Bitcoin and Solana speak volumes about the immense potential within these sectors. This is not just about gains, it's about seizing the biggest macro trade of our time. Don't miss out. Subscribe for more insights into investing and financial strategies.